Hi everyone, it's your Porsche and welcome back to another Summoners One video. In today's video, I have the honor to interview another person who's on the other spectrum of Summoners One where he's running Speed Team. Omega Speed Team. He has one team for everything and is super consistent, super fast, super safe. So I hope that you guys will learn something today from the interview. If you do, smash the like, check out the other person's stream, and I'll see you guys inside the video.
I've always been looking for what could make me faster. I just can't spend as much as some folks out there can. So the way that I can keep up even a little bit is if when I have dedicated time to play this game, I'm getting as many runs in as possible. Like, let's just pretend it's 20 minutes a day that you have to play Summoner's War. If I can get 20 runs in 20 minutes versus 10, I'm doubling my chances of getting something that's usable and helpful in the game. So that's the way I always focus how I've played, and that's kind of how I built into these speed teams.
When you started this team, was it like this team originally when you thought about it, or was it some previous variation to this thing?
No, it was a variation to that. So
what changed from
when
what
the twins came out? Sure. So when the twins came out, they were of course super freaking strong, right? And I was lucky enough. One of the other streamers was able to get me both Shina and Sabrina as my first two twins.
Dang,
on
that's
the
the
day
best.
Of release.
Oh my god!
On the day of release, and I didn't have that many scrolls. It was amazing.
Yeah, that is the best combination, right?
You'd think that, right? That's what everybody thought. So
yeah, that's what I think.
The team originally started with Shina and Sabrina, no Talia, and just working through it, I figured out, okay, if we got Shina and Sabrina, I need Galleon. Lushen will help me clear trash waves. And at the time I was using Luna. Luna had actually been a staple of my speed comps for a really long time. She is a phenomenal PvE monster, just absolutely crazy, wrecks things. So that's where I started with it, and then over time I did devil my Shina and my Sabrina because I could see that they were really high value, so I'm like, screw it. I'm going to use these guys in PvE, I'm going to use them in PvP, why wouldn't I give them the devil? They're that strong. So I give them their devil, and I keep moving through it, and at some point I realized Galleon wasn't really doing as much for me on the comp because Shina was providing enough of a defense break.
True.
So I moved over from Galleon to Kali, and with her, Lushen, Kali, Sabrina, Shina, and Talia, I started to hit D10 times and N10 times of 31 seconds for D10, and what was it for Necro? 38 seconds, I think, was my max.
Yeah. I think 31 seconds. Oh, that point is 38 seconds.
Yeah, at that point it was 38 seconds.
I see.
And, I was really happy with that comp. It did me really well in both D10 and it did me well in N10, but I couldn't use it in G10 because I didn't want to take Shina in there. It didn't seem to work. And I think around that time is when the PRs started to get released. They released that feature where you could see other people and stuff. And at that point, I found out that somebody in one of my line groups also really liked to compete for speed clearing.
I love it, by the way. I love competitive in PvE because...
Oh, heck yeah, man. So you mentioned all those red stars earlier. Where you don't see red stars is RTA. Because I am miserable, just absolutely miserable at RTA. I love it, except I routinely throw my phone, so... But yeah, so I met this guy, Bloody Claw, and he and I were pretty close in time, and he kept picking up a couple seconds here or there, and then I would go through and I would try to pick up a couple seconds here or there, just basically improving our runes over and over. And at some point he's like, we could just drop the attack buffer. You could just do a double Talia build, get your attack buffs that way, run the double Lushen to clear trash waves, and as long as you got the turn order appropriate and you're doing enough damage at each section, you could really hit some massive numbers and use it across all of the 3 main Kairos dungeons. Yeah, because otherwise you're going to run into a bunch of people, you know, a bunch of bots and stuff. But like,
wow,
these are some of the best.
This is real disrespect right here, buddy.
Yeah. I don't have a second Perna to try that out.
Wait, but how is he getting this kind of time? How lucky can he be with RG, huh?
I mean, like, I've never actually seen that Perna. He's always kept it hidden away.
Triple
but
fight
I guess
Perna,
it's
man.
on a full fight set, and you know, it's speed tuned perfectly. So.
Wow, but it's just not even 1 second, huh? It's like 93 millisecond on top of you. This is the only time. Hurts. This is the only time when the man is happier than the other man when he's faster in completing something. Low. So it was from sort of attack buffer and Shiner Sabrina into no attack buffer and double Talia, because you realize you don't really need attack buff, and Lushen have to move before the attack buffer anyway to clear the wave. You shouldn't have an attack buffer moving before Lushen to actually clear the wave, because you lose 1 turn, and 1 turn takes a lot of time.
You got it.
I see. Is everything here is fully skilled, the twins?
Yes.
Oh, that's why. But the armor break is not that consistent,
to be
right?
Clear, you don't have to have them fully skilled to make them do awesome things. It's just like, if you're really trying to get the best times, and if you want to improve your safety, then you need those skills.
I see.
Like, the last time that I went through the Summoner's War proxy to look at, like, what is the stability of my runs? Because being fast doesn't mean anything if you die all the time, right?
True.
Like, it's very easy to make a YOLO team that just dies instantly if it doesn't line up perfectly, and then you're just wasting crystals at that point. So like, the last time I actually checked these for stability, which was about a month ago, before I upgraded, I lowered some HP and updated some attack and crit damage values. I was running at 98% success rate.
Wow.
Over a minimum of 100 runs on each dungeon, just to verify that things were okay. But this free rune removal, I'm going to look at, now that I'm incorporating more fight sets into these mobs. I need to redo the damage calculations to make sure that I'm keeping attack and crit damage equal, and then seeing, you know, what happens with it.
So it's also 98% safe in Necro B10.
And across all of them.
I see. How many shield sets are now in the team?
I would say probably the minimum shield sets that you need is going to be 2, but it really depends on how much damage you're pumping out. Like, the whole point of the shield sets is really for Necro. Necro is when you hit those golems, they're going to mess you up.
Yeah.
And because Talia likes to go spastic on things, she's just going to kill herself if you don't have enough shield sets, or if you don't have enough HP. So it becomes a trade-off at some point. If your rune quality is good enough to kill things quickly, you can just go with shield sets and minimal HP, which is kind of the route where I'm at. Bloody Claw, on the other hand, I believe he has a little bit more HP than I do on his mobs, but at the cost of doing as much damage. So it's a balancing act. Clearly, both sides work, and right now his is working better. So, but like, in general for Necro, I would say something like around 15k HP and 1, maybe 2 shield sets is really what you want.
Because when Talia do the 3rd skill on the golem, it's really painful for her. It's crazy. She can do like 60k and suddenly she's dead.
Yep.
It's so scary when I try to do twins in Necro.
I think what really is the strength of this comp is that if you look at those mobs, they don't really have any speed on it. They're all almost at the minimum threshold to make sure that you move before everything across all 3 Kairos. And because of that, you know, I get to save all my premium attack speed runes that are violent sets, like for things like my Julian or my Perna, you know, those type of things where I want them to be fast. I need that for RTA. But like for this, like a bunch of these monsters don't have any speed on their runes, which you wouldn't do for PvP content 99% of the time, right?
Yes, definitely. So you don't use these
so like,
solution in
more
PvP
because you get to use. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say it's just more efficient because you get to use more of your runes. You don't have to waste them. They still have value, just at a different part of the game.
Mm. So what is the minimum speed that you recommend? Minimum.
So the minimum speed you need, I believe, is 130.
For it to move across dungeon, take the first turn.
Yes, and that's after towers. That's after
Oh,
towers.
so you technically need 120, 115?
Yeah, I mean, it
What's the
depends on the monster's base speed, right? But
So
yeah,
tower is
somewhere in there.
15%. So if a unit has 100 base speed, you only need 115 speed
Yep.
in total. Oh, that's easy. That's so easy to get 15 speed, no matter what, right? You get like 3 speed substat somewhere, 5 speed substat somewhere, and you got it. That's very low requirement for speed. You can pump all into attack with damage attack, and this thing gonna perform crazy. It's so good.
The other thing that you have to be really careful with is that Sabrina, because you only have one source of defense break, you need to make sure that you're hitting the minimum threshold for landing that defense break across all three. And with the exception, of course, of the Giants mid-boss, because, right, you've seen the file, right?
Yeah,
He's
it
got
has
something
1,000.
weird like 150% resistance, or like only monster in the game that does that. But if you get
So
your Sabrina
stupid.
up to 55%, then you're good.
I see. Was there a point where you keep failing and you realize that you shouldn't be doing this?
Oh man, it happens all the time. It happens all the time when you're testing and going through, like, I mean, everyone talks about the curse of free rune removal, right? You get to free rune removal day, you make your changes, and you're like, oh my god, I just got a new PR. You do maybe 10 or 20 runs, and you're like, this is perfect. No fails. It's great. You wake up the next morning, you start up the game, and it's like, nope, piss off. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead.
You're dead like 3 times in a row. Like, what the hell happened overnight?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, did they shadow change the game? Like, I don't know. But when that stuff happens, like for me, because this is the part of the game that I really care about and I'm really interested in, what I'll do then, nerdy as it is I'll just sit there and I'll watch what's actually happening in the runs. I'll try to figure out where is the point that I'm failing? What's causing me to lose the run? Is it because I'm not dealing enough damage quickly enough? Is it because I don't have enough HP? Is it because I messed up my turn order somehow on occasion? You know, like, you just have to look for those little pieces and kind of poke at it.
Definitely. Like, that's why I tell beginners player as well when they ask, hey, my team is failing, I don't know why. And then I ask them, where is your team failing? Is it the mid boss? Is it the last boss? When is it during the last boss? Like, exactly those points is where you can improve, because your team, it's not just failing, it's failing at some certain point in the dungeon. Whether you're not doing enough damage, whether you're not having enough speed and all that stuff. It applies to beginner's team as well.
Oh, for sure. And I think even more so for beginners is skill ups. Because beginners, when they're building out these teams, they don't have the skill ups. But then as they're building out the team, like, let's just say a beginner builds this whole team out and their Talias have no skill ups. And then they magically get 3 Talias, you know, from like a Summoning Stone rotation.
Magically.
That can change the whole dynamic of the team because it changes her overall damage output. So you have to reevaluate. If you start to fail after that, like, oh shit, maybe you need to get that extra shield set in now because she's just murdering herself, you know, on the trash mobs.
So when you're failing in mid-boss, your perspective is different. Most people will think, okay, I'm dying, I need more HP.
See there.
But then your solution is to do more damage. Just get it out of the way. I'm not tanking this thing. I'm doing speed team. I need to kill it faster and not trying to get a little bit more HP. But then you're still gonna die to it anyway when you get unlucky and the deadly touch. All 4 hits go into 1 unit. You can never survive that shit. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's rough.
When you see it happen and you can't do anything about it because it's just pure RNG that all 4 hits land on 1 unit and the first one defense break and you're done.
But so you can do something about it, right? Like you said, you just have to do more damage.
Yeah, just take it out of the way first turn. Don't let it move. I think that's where Shina comes into play, and it's a little bit better, safer, because Shina can reduce attack by AoE. But still, Shina can never do the damage that Talia can do.
That's right. With Shina, you definitely need the attack buffer in there. Like, if you have, I mean, my rune quality is pretty decent on these monsters. If your rune quality, like if you're just a beginner, I would 100% not do this team. I would instead go Shina over one of the Talias, and I would either go Kali or Galleon to help give you just some more redundancy in that defense break or attack buffing. It kind of depends on where your skill ups are with them.
I think to make this particular team a little bit easier to use, I replaced Talia with a Fran first for the attack buff, and also a light tank for the mid boss, and a Muty so that maybe he can't defense break you, you're not gonna die that easily, and a Fran multi-hit as well. So I think a Fran to replace Talia here, maybe it's gonna be a minute 30 second, but it's not that bad and it's much safer. And then you can transit into this if you happen to pull magically a Talia from stone, you know?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think the other thing people have to remember is, like, just because this team pulls some of, you know, the best times, doesn't mean there aren't other perfectly viable teams.
Definitely.
Like, for N10, you can get a sub, what did I do? I think sub 45 seconds was the best that I achieved with a double Lich team in there and a Lukasha. So, like,
the old school, the OGs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, who is it? Barian says it's not what you want, it's what you have. So figure out what you have, figure out how to maximize its potential, and if you're lucky, you've got people out there that you can ask about it. Find them online, find them on Reddit, and try to get some help.
I used it for Shina skill up.
That's exactly what I did too. That's exactly what I did too.
That was so many Talia.
I think the only thing that I would say is, again, don't focus on that team exactly. Like, if you have a Shina, build out the Shina. She's going to be awesome. Feel free to skill her up, because this free rune removal, what am I doing with my Shina? I'm going to get rid of her current runes and move her over to a proper PvP set, because she's on like this weird hybrid, you know, BS set that isn't really going to work if I want to do a high-level RTA with. Not that I'm good at RTA, but I at least know that I need to do better with her. Yeah, she's a super worthwhile unit.
By the way, he streams sometimes. What's your stream schedule, by the way?
It's actually about to change.
No, sure, just let us know.
It is Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays at 1 p.m., and then in the those are all server time, and then evening server times when I feel like it.
Alright, so twitch.tv/ZioMe. Check him out, guys. Just, you know, be nice to him when he play RTA. He says he's not very good at it, but look at his Molong, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy must be tripping. But anyway, it was my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with the community, this team, because I'm always curious about the people who have Omega Speed team in the ranking, but I don't know them, so I can't like, hey, how did you get this like so fast? And now we have one.
Sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll catch you later, okay? I'll see you on stream.
Sounds good. Thank you.